Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As Brent had said, I am with Citizens for Community Values Action, and our organization is a 30-plus-year-old pro-family organization based in Southwest Ohio, and we are here to speak out on this issue. Disbelief, it's a very powerful emotion. Oftentimes when we hear something so dark, so horrible, so inhuman, we tend to doubt the veracity of the message. That is, until the message is repeated over and over again, coming from multiple directions. Then, disbelief becomes a way to hide from the truth, to avoid our responsibility as our moral sense cries out for justice. It's been common knowledge for years among pro-life leaders and activists that Planned Parenthood profits from performing abortions, and that the murdered unborn's physical bodies were being used for research and other purposes. However, coming from the pro-life voices, the rest of the general public, those that are not on the polar ends of this issue, had many reasons to disbelieve the assertions and dismiss the claims. Now, given the release of the videos obtained by the Center for Medical Progress in their extensive undercover investigation of Planned Parenthood's activities, the disbelief of the public is a much more difficult facade to maintain. It's not because of the claims of the center, but because the assertions that the pro-life community have been making are verified by high-ranking officials within Planned Parenthood itself. And as we learned in the last week, those videotapes have been verified by 2 independent research efforts. It started with the release of a video with a conversation with the senior medical director of Planned Parenthood, Dr. Deborah Nicotola. In the video, she casually remarks about the way the abortionists are trained to perform abortions in such a way to ensure that body parts that the organization is harvesting from these aborted babies, especially their livers, lungs, kidneys, and hearts, are preserved intact so that they can be used by researchers. And what she really described is basically a partial birth abortion, which is banned under federal law. Planned Parenthood's president, Cecile Richards, has not denied that the organization is indeed harvesting these parts, but claims that they are, quote unquote, not profiting from it, and that their patients consent to the donation of the unborn baby's organs. Other videos continue to show from other voices within Planned Parenthood that not only are they profiting from these harvesting of organs, but that oftentimes women are selected based upon the profile that the recipient research university needs for their research. Can it be mere coincidence that those women whose data fit their buyer profile would also be women who voluntarily consented to donating the quote-unquote product of conception to Planned Parenthood? Well, Cecile Richards is to be believed. Now, that's really a point at which disbelief can make a very strong comeback. And the one, I think, for me and for our organization that really was the major tipping point was an interview with the director, the vice president of Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Savita Ginde. As she was in the middle of picking out organs from these babies to sell to companies who contract with these research universities and private companies, that she had just worked over the corpse to, quote, see how much we can get out of it, unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for disbelief is past. The time for action has come. The U.S. Senate recently failed to pass legislation to defund Planned Parenthood for the hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars that they receive annually. In the House, we're creating a committee to research these claims after having extensive hearings in which Cecile Richards admitted not only does Planned Parenthood do this baby harvesting, but also their claims of being in favor of women's health care or a major provider of women's health care was brought into question due to the fact that in none of their 600 plus locations could the president of the national organization show that there was even a mammogram machine in those facilities, putting to lie many of Planned Parenthood's own claims. As a matter of fact, here in Ohio, our Attorney General Mike DeWine has launched an investigation of the Ohio organization in order to determine whether or not they have violated both federal and state laws in harvesting these baby organs in such a manner as described earlier. Now, the American people, people of faith, people of conscience, people whose moral sense and responsibility cries out for justice, must demand that our Congress and our state legislature do more than just take away tax dollars. They must move to overturn the entire abortion industry by making abortions illegal. If they will not ban it outright, then the least they can do responsibly is to ban all abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected, usually at less than 6 weeks gestation. If we as a culture can stand by at this point, given the information that we have now received, and still turn a blind eye to the slaughter that is going on even as we speak, and our elected representatives will do little to nothing to halt that progress, then we have lost our moral foundation as a nation. And I ask that you would join with us, with FRC, with Students for Life, with CCV Action, to cry out to our leaders, to Speaker Boehner, to Majority Leader McConnell, to Governor Kasich, and ask them to do the responsible, the moral, the just thing. End the funding for these abortion providers and do it today. Thank you.